What's up, Chop On Nation? If you think the offseason is the time to sleep and just wait for the next National League East title, you are dangerously mistaken. You call yourself the biggest Braves fan, but do you really grasp the urgency of the moves that just went down behind the scenes in Atlanta? The work of building a World Series roster never stops, and the week started with crossfire. Today, the temperature spiked at Truist Park. Management is restless, adjusting the roster with the urgency of those who need to secure the ring, because our dominance will not be threatened. Pay attention, because the future of our rotation and our bullpen has just been shaken up. A lefty arm, pitcher Ken Waldichuk, arrives via waiver claim directly from the Athletics. But don't be fooled by the depth. His track record is awful, carrying a 5.28 ERA over 42 appearances. A disappointing performance that demands explanation, and we are going to scrutinize this gamble. Meanwhile, to open space on the 40-man roster, infielder Vidal Brujan was designated for assignment, and his short tenure in Atlanta is nearing its end, barely a footnote amid all this drama. But the crisis isn't just technical. We have payroll drama. The bullpen is at war over a measly $200,000, with Dylan Lee and the club exchanging figures in salary arbitration. And to top it off, the future of broadcasts is in limbo. The Braves are one of 9 teams that have outright terminated their contract with FanDuel Sports Network, which raises a single terrifying question that every fan needs to ask. Where the hell are we going to watch the next division title in 2026? It's a whirlwind of news that affects the field, the cash register, and your living room. Let's start by dissecting Alex Anthopoulos' risky gamble on pitcher Ken Waldichuk. Is it a master stroke seeking depth on the cheap, or is it desperation for a lefty arm? Even with such poor performance, stay tuned, because the chop is about to begin. Braves Country, today's urgent news proves once again that Alex Anthopoulos' mindset is one of constant movement, continuous improvement, because the expectation here is always singular. World Series ring. Since the first division title in 1991, this club is never satisfied, and now, in the pursuit of yet another NL East title, every piece on the roster and every financial move is crucial. Chop on. The most immediate roster move, and the one generating the most social media buzz, is the acquisition of lefty pitcher Ken Waldichuk, who arrived in Atlanta after being waived by the Athletics. Let's be honest, Braves, the track record is not eye-popping. The 28-year-old has pitched in 42 big league games, but carries a disappointing .611 record with an earned run average, the infamous ERA, of 5.28. That is an ugly number. But here is the genius behind Anthopoulos' low-risk move. Waldichuk is a young lefty arm who, despite the high ERA, has stuff. Coming from a team like the A's, the disappointing. Performance often hides raw talent that the organization failed to develop or utilize. He is a starting pitcher by trade, but in an elite bullpen like ours, he can be molded into a long reliever or a left-handed specialist, something the Braves pitching staff, one of the most respected in MLB, does better than anyone. This is not an acquisition to replace Fried or Strider, far from it, but it is a cheap gamble for roster depth, especially in AAA Gwinnett. Having more arms is the only certainty in baseball, and Waldichuk fits perfectly into the reclamation project profile the Braves love, using the strength of the defense and the high strikeout rate he has shown in the past to mitigate the walks and homers that inflated his ERA. It's a zero-risk flyer for the 40-man roster, but with the potential to become a valuable asset during the 162-game grind. To make room for this left-handed gamble, the club designated infielder Vidal Brujan for assignment, the dreaded DFA. Brujan's tenure in Atlanta was brief, just 24 games, and frankly, it did not provide the impact the front office expected from a speedy utility player. He was a bench option, a switch hitter who could cover second base, shortstop, or third, but the bat simply didn't play, and space on the 40-man roster must be managed ruthlessly when you are a title contender. This move showcases Anthopoulos' ruthlessness. If the piece is not producing and there is an opportunity to improve the farm system or big league depth, the cut is immediate. No sentimentality. That is the winning mentality in action. Moving on to the financial side, we have the news of the exchange of figures in salary arbitration with pitcher Dylan Lee. The bullpen is the heart of late-game defense, and Lee, our southpaw reliever, is vital. The difference is only $200,000, with Lee seeking a higher value than what the Braves offered. It is a small amount for a franchise of the Braves' caliber and market power, but arbitration negotiations are a game of principle and precedent. The club is known for being strict in its arbitration values to keep the payroll under control and ensure the financial firepower for future contract extensions for our stars. We want Lee in the bullpen at his price, and we hope this small impasse does not drag on. We need every arm ready for the chop-on come opening day. Finally, and perhaps the most impactful long-term news for the fan, is the termination of the broadcast contract with FanDuel Sports Network, which is part of the Diamond Sports Group, DSG. This is a bomb. The Braves are among the 9 teams that made this decision, and it is a clear sign that the MLB regional broadcast structure is collapsing due to DSG's financial crisis. What does this mean for us, the fans? It's not an immediate change for the upcoming season, but it signals that starting in 2026, or as soon as DSG's bankruptcy is finalized, the Braves will have full control over their media rights. This is a gigantic opportunity. The front office can negotiate a new deal, potentially including more accessible and lucrative streaming options, ensuring money flows directly to the club. More media revenue means more financial firepower to retain the core, the elite nucleus that led us to successive division titles. It is a smart, aggressive move, ensuring the strength of the Atlanta market directly benefits the upkeep of a franchise that seeks victory every single year. It is a relief to know that the future of broadcasts is being rescued from the hands of the crisis, with the goal of strengthening the Atlanta Braves even further. This news day for our Atlanta Braves reminds us that the winning machine never stops, and every move is calculated in the quest for the World Series. The front office is operating at maximum speed, adjusting the roster to ensure we have the depth needed for yet another sweep of the National League East Division, our turf. The announcement that caught everyone by surprise was the acquisition of lefty pitcher Ken Waldichuk, who arrives after being waived by the Athletics, and to house him on the 40-man roster, we had to say goodbye to infielder Vidal Brujan, who was designated for assignment. Let's get straight to the point. Left-handed pitching is gold dust in modern MLB. Waldichuk, at 28 years old, is a classic front office gamble. Bring in an arm with potential from an organization that failed to develop him. If we look at his numbers, the first reaction is shock. 42 games pitched, a disappointing record of 6 wins and 11 losses, and a 5.28 ERA. Yes, it is high, it is bad, but he was pitching in Oakland. The transition to an elite bullpen like ours, under the tutelage of our coaches and with the pressure of a team that expects victory in every inning, might be the spark he needs. He has stuff, he has a recent history as a starter, and if we can turn him into a high-leverage left-handed specialist or a reliable long relief arm, this is a low-cost, potentially high-return signing. The team that dominates the NL East needs more than 11 arms. It needs 25 warriors ready to chop on. The immediate consequence of this move is the designation for assignment of Vidal Brujan, a player who had a discreet 24-game tenure in Atlanta. It is proof that our mentality is ruthless. There is no time for players who are not producing at a championship level. Every spot on the 40-man roster must be occupied by someone who can make a difference in October, and the move for Waldichuk shows that the focus is on strengthening pitching depth, especially a southpaw. And speaking of essential lefties, the news of the arbitration exchange between pitcher Dylan Lee and the Braves is one of those annual nuisances. Lee, who is vital in our bullpen, is seeking $200,000 more than the club offered. $200,000. It is peanuts in the context of a baseball contract, but That is the nature of arbitration. Lee has proven to be a high-quality pitcher who can enter any high-fire situation late in the game. We hope the front office resolves this situation quickly because Lee's presence in the bullpen is non-negotiable. We need him mentally focused on mowing down hitters, not on contractual issues. Excellence demands that the roster be united and well-paid, and Lee deserves what is fair for his crucial performance in our division title campaigns. However, the news that directly affects every single one of us, the fans, is the announcement that the Atlanta Braves are among the 9 teams that terminated their broadcast contract with FanDuel Sports Network. This is not just behind-the-scenes news. This is about access to baseball. For us, the most passionate fan base who needs to watch our chop-on offense dominate the opponent every day, the uncertainty about where and how we can see the games is crucial. This termination means the Braves are seeking a new broadcast partner, or perhaps the club is exploring the creation of its own streaming model or local network. The sports media landscape is changing radically, and the Braves are positioning themselves to ensure that broadcast revenue, which is massive, is maximized. Ultimately, that extra revenue fuels the big contracts and signings that keep us at the top. Our expectation is that the management finds a solution that is financially lucrative for the team, but above all, that is accessible to our gigantic fan base, which demands to see championship baseball every night. What this means exactly for 2026 and the future is a developing story, but the message is clear. The Braves are in control of their broadcasts. The Braves baseball machine is relentless and always focused on victory. From a depth gamble on Waldachuk to a surgical roster adjustment with the DFA of Brujan, passing through the small but important arbitration negotiation with Lee, and culminating in the colossal decision regarding broadcast rights with FanDuel, every move shows that the team is preparing not just for another season, but to hoist the trophy at the end. Roster management and financial management go hand in hand, and our team is making the necessary adjustments to ensure that the NL East remains our division and that the pursuit of the ring never loses focus. Baseball does not stop, and neither do the Braves. May the chop on continue strong. Another day of undeniable proof that this Division East has an owner, and his name is Victory. The offense is calibrated, the rotation is solid, and our chop-on is stronger than ever. There is no goal but the World Series. Victory is the only horizon. Thank you, Tomahawk Nation. If you live and breathe the expectation of victory like we do, subscribe to the channel right now. Activate the bell so you don't miss any urgent analysis on the road to the title. And of course, comment below. What was the move that made you scream the loudest? Do you believe the division dynasty remains strong?